Hey everyone, RogueGold here, and welcome back to another State of the Game recap. This is for State of the Game number 176 on December 2nd, 2020, and today, Hamish had Yannick and Trick on to discuss Season 4 and the upcoming holiday event. I want to preface this recap and this State of the Game overall was very interesting. We have some admittedly pretty disappointing news, but we also have some incredibly exciting news to go over. So yeah, it's gonna be a bit of a ride. Let's get into it. Priority alerts, they always start with first. The TU12 BTS closed today. They went over some of the key feedback and changes they are making before launch. But they said, of course, you can still give feedback on the forums for changes either at launch or afterwards. Nothing is off the table. Some of those highlight changes, all the PDR variants damage has been buffed because I guess it was underperforming. The capacitor, exotic PDRs, magazine, and skill tier scaling damage has been increased. The magazine up to 41, I believe, and the skill tier now gives you 7.5% weapon damage per skill tier you have equipped. The Bighorn has had its magazine buffed to 41 and its talent buffed to where you can now maintain the maximum headshot stacks if you continue landing headshots when you reach that maximum threshold. So that's obviously going to be very nice. The Scorpio, new exotic shotgun that is coming with Season 4, they had to tune it down from its original iteration. The buffs are now based on the percentage of bullets landed, or pellets I should say, so that you can't use it from a super long range and just get those really OP benefits. You now really have to be up close if you want those effects to have any sort of long duration. So that makes sense. I'm fine with that. They touched on the optimization station cost because a lot of people have been giving feedback about how that may have been too high or, too hard to get all the materials. They say that, sort of unlike Division 1, it's not meant to be something that can just be, it's not meant to replace the gear grind, right? It's not meant to take over what the game is really about, which is getting loot. What it's meant for is to really top off those pieces you have that are close to being god rolled, or they have the right rolls, but you don't fully have the maximum bars on them. So they said that the costs are meant to be relatively high, and I think this is good. They did note that on the PTS, not all of the available sources for the materials were available. Like the season rewards give you a lot of optimization stuff, and so that wasn't available. And so they said it should feel a bit better once the update actually comes out, and that all makes sense. Speaking of which, the update is going to drop on December 8th. That is 6 days from when I'm making this video, so that is very exciting. It is coming next week, and again, hints to a bit of a rush timeline to hopefully announce something in February/March, but we will come back to that. No maintenance this week, so nothing to worry about on that front. Now we move to the developer interview and that good and bad news that I mentioned. The bad news first, let's just get out of the way, is that Codename Nightmare has been basically scrapped. It was supposed to be, they teased it back at Ubisoft Forward in August, I believe, September. It was supposed to be a repurposed Kenley College event, some limited time event where you go back to Kenley College and you do some sort of cool gameplay stuff. They never told us what it was, and we likely will never know what they intended. But what it is now is it's going to be a second apparel event for Season 4, coming after the first one, which is in December. This is going to come later, and it's, Yannick said it's going to have some very unique apparel. So I'm guessing this means some outfits that the community has wanted for a long time, maybe some hunter stuff, maybe some faction stuff. I assume it's going to be pretty cool. It's still disappointing, very much so. They said that COVID has made development this year very rough, and so that ultimately led them to having to scrap the Kenley College new content portion of the event. It's unclear whether this apparel was meant to be with it in the first place, or if it's now the main draw because they know they want to put something cool in its stead. I understand their reasoning. I'm not going to get mad at them for it. I don't think it's very reasonable to get mad at anyone for, COVID-related stuff this year because it's been such a big change as to, everyone's normal lives and their jobs and all that. So I'm not mad. Sure, I'm disappointed, but at the end of the day, if that's what had to happen, then that's what had to happen. I'm not going to get mad at it. So I would ask you guys, consider a little bit before you go and rant at them on Twitter. But that being said, that's the bad news. Now we also have some very, very exciting news. That update that's going to bring Codename Nightmare and the second apparel event comes in TU 12.1, which is going to drop on February 2nd. And you want to know what else is coming on February 2nd in 12.1? It's the next-gen update that they said wasn't going to come. We are getting 60 FPS at 4K on the Xbox Series X and the PS5. This is incredible. If you have these new consoles and you have not played a game that was previously at 30 at maybe 1080 or 4K has now been scaled up, then you're gonna be blown away. Because specifically, I played PUBG for a long time on the Xbox One before the Series X came out, and that was always at 30 FPS, and it was it wasn't bad, but it wasn't a very well optimized game. It didn't feel that great. But going from that to now you can play it at 60 FPS, like a rock solid 60 at, it's either 1080 or 4K. It's incredible. Like, it feels like a transformed game, and it just feels so much more fun to play, in my opinion. And so I'm incredibly, incredibly excited for this next-gen optimization. I think you guys, if you have these consoles, you're going to notice a major difference, and it's honestly just going to transform the game and make it so much more fun to play. So even though we're losing the new content portion of, TU12 and Season 4 in Codename Nightmare, I truly think that this optimization is going to make up for that if you obviously own these consoles. If you're on the previous gen consoles or if you're on PC, then I feel for you. Obviously, you're losing and not gaining anything, so that sucks. But, hopefully you can appreciate that this is going to be a really major thing for a lot of the players, and, personally, I am very, very excited for this. Moving on, we have a, full overview of what Season 4 is. It's going to be called End of Watch, which is a very cool name, and again, not going to get into spoilers, but it hints at some pretty major stuff. The photo is up on screen of the whole timeline for Season 4. Again, won't get into spoilers, but I will say watch for February 9th when the Fei Lao mission is released. I think starting on that date and past that, we can expect some very interesting stuff to come out regarding the future of this game or potentially Division 3. So the new global event is called Golden Bullet. It's, from what they described as, it sounds kind of similar to Guardian, but minus the immune enemies. Basically, one enemy gets a golden bullet, and he's kind of really OP. And then if you kill him, you get a mad, damage, RPM, reload, everything buff, and if you kill enemies, it extends that duration. So pretty similar to Guardians in that sense. There's a new directive called Ragers. Enemies can become enraged, and if they become enraged, then it grants them overheal until their rage meter depletes, and then killing an enraged enemy removes all nearby enemy rage stacks. Sounds fine. And they also reminded everyone that the new global event vendor, the new shop, is coming with TU12, where you can now spend your global event challenge points on specific rewards, so that's going to be a nice thing for sure. There's also a non-Codename Nightmare related holiday event coming. There's a photo for that. I'll put that up. Logging into the event gives you the Santa hat. If you played during the event last year, then I think we already have this. But for any new players, you will now be able to obtain that. Killing the Santa hat wearing Loot Goblin now drops the level 40 version of the Slayer. So even if you did play last year, you're probably going to go and try to do this again so you can get the updated version of the Slayer gun. The new addition this year, though, is that there is a new hunter. Well, I guess I should say they said it's not a new hunter, but some hunter within the realm of the game is going to now grant you a new mask, which you can see on the table there when you kill it. They didn't want to say which hunter it was, but the community will probably figure it out the first day that the update drops. So we can look forward to that coming. Should be pretty fun. There is a second apparel event, but this will be the first of the two. So Codename Nightmare has now been scrapped for the content, but it is now a very unique apparel event coming on February 2nd with 12.1. The first apparel event, which would, I guess you consider to be the normal apparel event for the season, will be coming on December 22nd, and it is called Outguard, and it looks really cool. Some of these outfits, I am, especially Mongoose, we'll get to the photos here, very excited for it. So this event is going to run the 22nd to January 11th. And I will scroll through the photos of what these outfits look like. This is just your standard apparel event. Do your shade level ups and you'll get the keys and all that. So we're familiar with what that is. It's not clear on if Codename Nightmare is going to function the same way or if it's going to have a unique apparel event like gameplay loop. So we'll have to figure that out once we get closer to when that comes out. But these ones look very cool, I have to say. And then last up, Season 3 is wrapping up. It ends obviously on Tuesday when Season 4 and TU12 drops. They did mention quickly that the Guardians GE has been reworked. And I will say, if you've been watching the background gameplay here, it's really fun. I tried it out in the summit, and being able to retain the buff and knock through some of the other enemy shields once you have the Guardian buff, it's a lot of fun. So if you haven't tried it out, I would recommend it, especially with something like Hunter's Fury, which is what I was using. You go up close, you get the buff, it's a lot of fun. And then lastly, they said that State of the Game will return next year in 2021, sometime probably in January. They thank everyone for their patience this year, especially with the announcement of Codename Nightmare's, scrap today. Again, I think we should all be a bit, forgiving for them, especially considering the conditions of this year. So I appreciate them sticking with the game as always. And yeah, that's all they had to say. So that wraps it up, guys. That is the recap for State of the Game number 176. Again, I am super excited for the next gen update that is truly finally coming on February 2nd. That's going to be huge. Again, if you haven't experienced that kind of thing before, and if you own a Series X or a PS5, you're going to be blown away. I promise you. It is disappointing about Codename Nightmare, but again, I think once we figure out what is coming next, they even teased, Trick was like, oh, when we do stay the game next December, next year we'll have to have some like Christmas theme. They're going to continue the game. All right. It's not like they're dropping this franchise after season 4, at the start of next year. So something is coming in year 3 or for Division 3. And I think we're going to find that out come February 9th, when that final manhunt mission drops for Fei Lao. So exciting stuff. Keep an eye out for all of that. But yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and be sure to subscribe with notifications on so you can be updated every time I upload. Let me know down in the comments what your thoughts are on these announcements today. Are you excited for the next gen update? Are you disappointed about Codename Nightmare? What do you think about some of this other stuff like the apparel events? Let me know everything, all of your thoughts. I'm very interested what you guys have to say. Thanks again, everyone. Have a great day, and until the next one, guys, RogueGold out.